What's up, YouTube? Peace, family. Thank you for clicking on this video. As you can see by the title, this is going to be my story transitioning from religion into spirituality. This, to me, is a very touchy topic, but also very important and something I feel very drawn to express right now, and something that just really I just feel I need to really share my side, my perspective on a lot of things, and just put it out there, and whoever comes across it, hopefully it gives you some insight, a new perspective, just something that you can gain is what I'm ultimately trying to accomplish with expressing and telling my story, transitioning from religion to spirituality. I've also been inspired so much by a lot of the stuff that's been going on, especially on YouTube when it comes to certain spiritual teachers and whatnot. But it's just been a massive awakening. I feel like going on YouTube because you got a lot of people that are basically, I feel like waking up, and some are, I guess you can say finding a new way or whatever, but ultimately it's like I appreciate the lessons that are still coming from all of this. It's still giving us so much to learn from, another perspective, uh validation, confirmation. It's giving so much positive energy at the same time, even if amongst any other negativity that's also present. Because I think it's also caused a lot of people to feel confused right now, to feel fearful, to not understand exactly what's going on anymore. Which is why I just really want to just, chime in on this energy and basically push out more good vibes and really tell my side, get my story out there, and just, do my part. So I'm not going to like go too long and make this too much. Oh, my phone. Sorry about that. But basically, when it comes to my story, I don't have a script or anything. I'm just kind of free flowing with it. I just wanted to be real heartfelt. So yeah, I don't have a script or anything. So bear with me. This may be a little, whatever. But I guess I'm gonna start about 2017. I jumped into like my awakening. That's when I started to have my awakening. And basically, to sum it all up, I was going through severe anxiety at the time. I mean, severe anxiety, severe social anxiety. And I'm someone who, growing up, I have a huge family, and it's just constant like mental stimulation to the point to where you just, I don't know, social anxiety is really hard to you know have that affect you when you got so much of that mental stimulation that I had as a kid. But growing up, as I got older, life hit me. I became more aware of myself, and sure enough, I became like super anxious over the smallest things, to the point it started to grow, and it made me basically, it became like crippling to a point. It was where I didn't want to go anywhere. I would like be in my room for hours, like, and I'm kind of like that now, low key, but it was a difference then because I low key wanted to be out there and back, feeling like my old self and around all my family and friends and doing everything. But it was like I couldn't, because I would, or if I did do it, I would just be really awkward, really anxious, shaking, having little nervous head twitches and stuff. It was like really crazy things starting to manifest when I started to develop social anxiety. And again, this was around 2017. So I'm having like all this anxiety hit me. I'm just having like this world of like changes happen right before me, and I'm not really knowing what to do, and I don't want to tell anybody. I feel really a bit embarrassed and really ashamed, and almost like um it almost made me feel like I had like failed myself. It was like I had downgraded or something. It was a very um low vibration. And I was there for a while. I was there for months or whatever, and it was weird because, like I said, I didn't realize that it was literally me going through a shift in consciousness. I was basically um, going through an awakening, but from my perspective at the time, it just looked like, you know, it looked like something that was basically gonna just like ruin my life. That's how I felt. I never really had suicidal thoughts, but I just felt like my life was ruined. Like I just felt like the things that I wanted or relationship and things like that were like just gone out the window. All right, so that was like the gist of that. So I started to like change my perspective though. I started to, I started to change my perspective. I started to research little things. Um, but one of the first things I did was, the normal thing. I was basically seeking out medical help or whatever. And so I had a doctor or whatever, and he prescribed me like some anxiety medicines or whatever. I had a couple doctors that prescribed me medicines, and all of the medicines made it worse. It was crazy, man. It was like, for a couple of days I would feel away, and then it would just make it worse. And so that really messed me up a little bit because it made me feel hopeless, a little bit more hopeless, because it was so severe. And so I kind of started to go to alcohol and like weed. And I wasn't like, luckily, I wasn't like going crazy with the alcohol, but I was still using it as a way to like cope with the anxiety. I would like, if I would go hang out with somebody, I would make sure we would drink or something, or, I would just be like doing stuff like that in order to try to cope with it because it seemed like when I was on alcohol, I was able to like control my emotions and my body a lot more, and especially smoking was something that I also felt like relaxed. But yeah, so it made me kind of go further down the docket. So, I'm still looking for answers because I think that's something that I appreciate about my spirit now to this day is that I'm always searching. I'm always like forever learning, forever wanting to learn, forever wanting to find the answers, forever wanting to, figure it out, if it's something that I feel like I don't know, so, or that I don't understand. So with my anxiety, I feel like it was just so weird to me how I could go from being this super outgoing kid and then growing up to be like this super introverted, shy, timid, anxiety driven young adult. So, it was really traumatic. It was really crazy at the time. Um, but anyway, I was going through all of that, trying to cope with it, doing the best I can. And mind you, I had like, and I'm so grateful for my small, like my family, because most of my family I'm really close with. So around them, I was pretty good. And I would like, be able to talk to them to some degree. But I was still like really embarrassed and didn't really want to bring no insight on it. And really, when I would talk about it with people, my anxiety got so like pumped up, like it just like it would just go skyrocket on me, and I was like, whoa bro, like chill. So it was something that when I was around my family or something and I was cool, I kind of just wanted to ignore it and not even try to think about it too much. And so anyway, so I'm going through all of that, and I'm over here, trying to really figure it out, and I'm with my family, and I'm talking to them. I have a few of my cousins who I do express it to, and like my mom and my sisters, and I'm telling them about it, and they're really having a hard time seeing it. First of all, they didn't even really notice it, and but they kind of see me like in the room and stuff a lot, but they just they didn't really. They just kind of felt like that was me, because like I said, I kind of already am like that. But it was really unhealthy in the beginning. And so they didn't really notice. So it was just weird. I couldn't really talk to them about it, and then they didn't even really notice. So I was really trying to really figure it out by myself, low key. And but I was determined too. It was something about me that just never gave up, and I appreciate that, because I remember like smoking one day, and I was hitting a blunt and nobody was around. I was in my room hitting it by myself, and I was just shaking uncontrollably while I was holding the blunt. I'm just shaking uncontrollably. And I'm like, bro, what is wrong with me? And so I'm like looking at my hand like, why are you shaking? Like I'm not, nothing's happening. And I find that my anxiety was more socially. There's many types of anxieties, but mine was more socially. So when I felt like people were looking at me like at the cash register or something, I would just like start shaking. Like it was just weird stuff like that. Or my tech job, if I was typing on a computer and I felt like people behind me were looking, I would like have a hard time, typing on the computer fast like I was supposed to. It was, or I would be twitching. It was embarrassing things happening, man. So anyway, I'm sitting there like, I need to figure this out. And so I'm looking at my hands and I'm like, okay, all right, we doctors didn't work, family, can only help me so much. It's not even their fault. But at this point, like I need to really like do my research and really dive in, and figure it out. So I started to research like medicines. I was like doing what I could because all I knew at that time was like what I knew, and I didn't know what I didn't know. I knew nothing about spirituality. I was newly into religion. So I feel like when I started to do my research, it started to really help me put the pieces together. Um, and it started to really help me make sense of more of what was going on because I started to learn what anxiety was, that it was like an more energy based, something going on inside of you. Is more so like your mind, thinking about all these things in the past or the future. There's so many definitions out there, but the ones that resonated with me were the ones that really, transformed a lot of my perspective, and that's normally how everything is. That's why it's really important to do your own research so you can really allow things to resonate with you. And when those things resonate like that, they literally transform your perspective for the better, in most cases. So anyway, I was learning those things and I'm like, wow, this is very like insightful. It was, it was liberating low key, and it was helping me to get more in tune with myself, even if I didn't really notice it at the time. And so I started to realize that a lot of my anxiety was coming from like religion because I was like basically feeling like I wasn't doing religiously what I had signed up for. Um, I felt like God wasn't with me, because that was something that I definitely felt like played a huge factor in it. Because I was somebody who was raised by a lot of religious people. They're very religious family, and we were taught that if you weren't like at the meetings on certain days, or if you weren't reading your Bible, or if you weren't like, if you basically just living this super righteous, holy life, um, that was basically told to you by the religion, that God wasn't with you. That he wasn't supporting you. He didn't love you anymore. You were betraying him, low key. So that was like tough for me because I'm somebody who like I analyze things a lot. I'm always in my head with things. I'll really pick something apart, and not like in a bad way, but just to really understand it. And so when I was taught that, and I started to believe it because it became one of my belief systems, like, hey, if I'm not here, then God isn't with me. I'm not protected. I'm going to die. It was just basically all the opposite emotions if I weren't doing those things. And I was at a point in my life where I wasn't going to church anymore. I wasn't going to the meetings anymore. I had just kind of fell off a little bit. And as you grow older, things like that happen. Life just catch up, and it really things change, and most people in religion when they grow up, they fall off. They just, it's kind of common. They end up coming back or they don't. But anyway, I fell off and I found myself basically like depressed and in anxiety, feeling really guilty and feeling really like sorry for myself a lot. And that manifested into this anxiety, which basically took a life of its own. But I think the root of it had to do with a lot of my upbringing, which was religious based. Um, so fast forward now, that's basically, I'm getting into it. I'm understanding what's going on with myself a little better. I'm understanding the root causes of things. I'm kind of shifting my perspectives, in being aware of what it is. I'm looking at myself, the shadow parts of me, like head on, and I'm accepting that I have anxiety now. I'm kind of ready to talk about it more with people. That's where I was in that level. And so I started to basically as I was doing my research, I did start to talk about it more, and I started to like really try to find alternatives. I went to a therapist, uh, and he basically, it was so weird because I feel like with anxiety, they act like the only solution is pills or something. It's like, dang, like maybe it's not, a pill. Maybe it is, but maybe it's something totally different I need. Maybe it's something more natural. Maybe I just need some motivation on a daily basis. I don't know. It's maybe not pill based, is what I'm saying. And I went to the therapist, and he just basically told me a lot of stuff about how I needed to be on pills. And it was crazy because I was learning at that time about a herb called kava kava. And it was 2017, so it wasn't really out like that. And I remember asking the therapist, like, hey, because he had so much information about anxiety pills. I was like, this is important. Could be a really good time for me to ask him about kava kava, because I had heard that kava kava was a more natural way to go about social anxiety, because it gave you a certain type of numbing effect, but it was natural. All right. And it was like, they told me when I was reading it that it was like equivalent to alcohol. And low key I was like, okay, well then let me check this out, because like I told you, I was already kind of like taking a little shot or something, or making sure we would have a drink if I was sitting down with somebody to just calm my nerves. So I was like, if this is more natural and it's like similar to alcohol and it gives you the same effect, then maybe this can help me, a lot more, and I could be drinking this, it could really help me. So I asked the doctor about it. He like, no, yeah, I heard about it, but honestly, what that's gonna do is gonna make you more dependent on it. So if taking the pills allow you to wean yourself off. I was like, wow, bro, that sounds so backwards. So you're telling me that a natural herb, a natural root, because kava kava is a lateral root from a plant. It's the root part of it. And it gives you this very numbing effect, and it's similar to like alcohol, like I said, will make you dependent on it versus pills that I know people are dependent on. I was kind of low key dependent for a moment, and then I got off of it. But you gonna tell me that the natural one is the one I shouldn't go with? I was like, wow, okay. So at that point, I kind of knew that the doctors and the therapists didn't have my answers, not mine. And so I was like, I really gotta just take this all into my hands. So at this point, I'm like, the only way you're gonna find out is if you start tapping in and start buying these things and testing it out, like you've been doing these pills. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? The pills made it 10 times worse. So let's just see what happens. So I get the kava kava, and the kava kava starts to really help, man. It starts to help me. It's doing everything it says. I'm at work, and I'm able to sit still at the computer while I'm typing, so I can actually be comfortable at my job that I gotta be working 40 plus hours, and I'm just relaxed more, and it's helping me. It's helping me build my confidence back. It's just really helping me get a more sense of freedom going on, because I felt real trapped, in my mind mentally. And so as I'm really like going deeper into this, things started to become. I started to increase my consciousness at the same time. And it was weird because I didn't notice any of it. When you're at the beginning of that awakening, man, things are shifting on such a deep level that you don't really notice it off the bat like that. You may feel it and stuff, but you don't really notice it in your outer reality like that. It's like you're transmuting stuff first, and you alchemizing, becoming an alchemist, and you're turning your negative into positives and stuff. So it's a process. So I'm learning about the dang kava kava, and then I get to anxiety, and then I get to the chakras, and that's when it started to really just like, whoa, all right. So now this is like something that I never knew about, and I'm trying to figure out why, because it seemed like when you were looking up anxiety, it was always something about the root chakra going on, and I'm like, what is this root chakra? And so you get into the root chakra, and the root chakra deals with your stability, your security. It deals with your being grounded and or not being grounded if you're having too much anxiety. That's signs of an unbalanced chakra. If you feel unsecure, or you feel fearful a lot, or you feel ungrounded. And I was like, wow, because I feel all these feelings. I feel very fearful, because I feel like religion in the whole has this fearful tact this fearful strategy that allows that tries to make you, like I said, it keeps you in control. So like while you're there, the fear is kind of tamed and you feel like you're doing good. So you have nothing to fear, low key. But the moment you have a life changing event coming, or you grow, or something just changes and shifts for you, and you're not doing those things, then they have this like fear mentality that's like possessing you. It's like a fear demon or something that possesses you, and literally just takes all your energy, man. Like all your thoughts will be on you not doing this and fearing that you're gonna die, and just like, and in turn you start fearing everything around you, because that's the signs of the root chakra. It's either you're gonna be fearing things, or you're gonna be in a more secure vibration. And so as long as you have that fear there, you cannot feel secure unless you are what, like probably at the religion, because once you're at the religion, then yeah, you're probably feeling a little more stable and secure. But like I said, I wasn't. So I was like, wow, these chakras, this is taking me like, this is taking my consciousness, my awareness to another level, and it's just like, wow. um so I'm like mind blown, and I'm really trying to like figure it all out at this time. I realize there's a lot I don't know, and I realize that there's a lot that I need to start learning. So I start going hammer time, and I start like going into all the chakras. um and then right before that though, like right before I started to really go into the chakras though, because I feel like this is how the spiritual awakening happens. It's like things start to really line up, and you probably won't be able to notice it right away, like I said. But as the years go by, and hindsight is 2020, like right now I can really look back and really like see, wow, I see what was going on there. Because at the time it was like everything just started to line up, and I didn't really notice it, because right after I started to learn about the root chakra, my oldest sister, she's a Cancer, really spiritual, very religious like me, my sibling, both my siblings are. But basically she was basically going in on me and telling me about the chakras too, and she was just going in on me. She was like, didn't couldn't believe that I didn't really know about that. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't know about, like, nobody, religion didn't teach me, school didn't teach me. What do you mean? Like, how do you know is what I'm trying to figure out. But she was just in her own little zone, and she was learning her own things. So the next thing was, she had came to me and she was like, yeah, you can use crystals to help ground you and to help your root chakra if you really want to tap into it and really heal it. So she brought me this crystal called Jet, and it was a black crystal. And in me, I'm so left brain at the time. Like, I'm not thinking really, my imagination is not really there like that. I'm just really logical. I'm like, not, I don't really think that there's a crystal, a rock that can help me with these super intense moments that I'm having out in public and at work and stuff. Like, I doubted that. That was the last thing on my mind for sure. I'm like, I need to be taking something, a something. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, but let me try it out, because mind you, I'm in this phase where it's like, I gotta just see for myself. So, and I think everybody should keep that mentality. You should just go find out for yourself, experience it yourself, do your research, tap into it, and then anything else, that you're learning from somebody else, allow that to be a plus on your awareness of it. But I got the crystal jet or whatever, and it's really good for grounding and all these other properties. So I'm holding the crystal, and I just feel like this tingle, and I just feel this sense of calmness go over me, man. It was instant. And I was like, I don't know what just happened, but I know something just happened. That was the mind frame. And it was a good thing, because I kind of felt like I was able to breathe a little like deep. It was just very, it was something that I couldn't ignore. So I'm holding the crystals, and I'm like, okay, well, let me hold on to this one. I'm gonna take it to work. I'm gonna put it to test, because if this stuff is making me chill out in these certain areas, then I know something. And so, mind you, I take it to work, man, and it's helping me, dude. It's really grounding me. Like, I mean, I feel my energy. The energy was, I would hold it, and I would feel the energy coming out of my feet. Of course, I was like more accepting at the time too. I think a lot of us, we already have a belief system that's stuck, and it's like it blocks. It's called cognitive dissonance. So it's just like it blocks out any type of any type of way of that manifesting. If you feel like a crystal won't help you heal, and you say, "Oh no, that don't work," even before you even try it, it's not gonna work for you because you already have an energy that's put out there, and your mind is already made up. So where you kind of manifest, you manifest it not working. So I was open and I was just ready to really try out this natural stuff because it was what was actually working way better than anything else. So the crystal really started to help me, man, and I was like, okay, now, so this is getting real. All right, this is getting real. Um, there's a whole magical side going on basically, and nobody even talking about it. There's a whole invisible side of things going on, unseen chakras, that because the chakras, mind you, they're not like physical, they can be, in certain organs they manifest, but they're not physically little circles. They're more energetic circles, energetic portals within you, and so you got to work with that on a more energetic level using your thoughts, energies, and stuff like that. Spirituality, using your spirit. That's how you tap into your spirit through energies and thoughts and feelings and emotions, the elements. All right. That's how you work with it. And so I was like, okay, it's time for me to like basically forget everything I know and really work on trying to figure out and just work on trying to understand. That's all I wanted because it was already a fact to me that I had the chakras. I had chakras because I could feel them and the crystal was helping me ground it. And then it was also a fact to me that I could heal something energetically like anxiety, which I know a lot of other people were coping with through medicines, through something very natural like a crystal. And I wanted to know why that was. And I knew the connection was energies. I knew that much. My grounding was it was some energies going on, and I needed to really get in tune with that. So basically, I started to shift from that left side of my brain to the right side of my brain. So I started to shift out of that religious, super left brain mentality of everything being so physical. Everything is so physical in religion when honestly it's more spiritual than it is literal. Things are more symbolic than they are literal. So when you start to tap into that right brain, you start to get into that more symbolic side of things, in that energetic side of things, and shit starts to make more sense. Okay, it starts to really make more sense at that point. And you start to realize why things are manifesting the way they are. Because I think a lot of the doctors that I went to, they wanted to help me with the shaking and they wanted to help me just calm down in the moment. So they were basically trying to help me with the symptoms that I had. But ultimately, I needed to get down to the root of that issue. And the root of that was having a fear based mentality, thinking that I was going to die or thinking this and that and the other, which was putting me too far in the future, right? Thinking I'm gonna die and stuff. You don't even know. And then maybe we all do at one point, but shoot, you don't know when, so why are you stressing about it today? Is the point. And then it was like I was feeling really guilty for things that I had did in the past when it came to religion and stuff. You can't change those things in the past, so why are you allowing it to like take the precious present moments from you? So that was a whole mind frame that I had to really tap into. It was an energy that I was putting out that was just manifesting back to me the same thing that I was putting out. I had to literally change my mind in order to switch the energies and then start manifesting the opposite of that. And the way I started to do that was through my spirituality, through tapping into chakras and crystals and learning what that was, because that was a part of me that I was rejecting, that a part of me that I wasn't allowing to breathe. And that's a spirituality is a huge part of my life now. I'm not religious anymore, but I'm very spiritual. I'm very spiritual. Now, I have grown to understand that you use everything as a tool. You don't allow anything to be just your external end all be all. No. You don't, like Conjure Queen said, you are connected to that source. You are connected to God. You don't need a middleman, honestly. Okay? You can go right inward into your spirit realm, and you can tap in. All right? Anytime you want. You don't need a middleman. And that's across the board. You don't got to go to somebody and tell them to do this for you so you can talk to God. You don't have to do that. You can do that yourself, you know. But you have to learn about yourself. You have to learn your energetic blueprint. You have to learn who your spirit is and what your spirit is here to do. Okay, you got to understand. You got to do the inner work that's necessary for you to thrive and to live as your best self. If you are in fear, or if you're feeling any type of fear, that's an indicator that your root chakra is blocked and that you need to basically work on either removing what it is that's making you feel fearful or looking at it from a different light that allows you to feel more stable and protected. Okay? Anything that's making you feel fearful and anxious, overly anxious, that's a sign that you kind of need that energy is blocking you somewhere. That whatever is emitting that you are emitting the fear vibration, but whatever is triggering that fear inside of you like that, that's a sign that thing or that energy or that person, place, or thing is not for you, honestly. At least not at that very moment. Okay? Because I feel like with religion, I learned that it has a place, and I'm not knocking anybody that's going back to religion or that is in religion, because I believe we all have our path to enlightenment and we all should do as thy will. And if that's what helps you feel grounded and secure and happy, you go forward and live your best life with religion and everything else you got going on, because that's what I'm doing. I'm living my best life, happy, stable, secure in my spirituality. Okay, when it comes to religion, though, I've realized that if it's making you feel fearful, which it is basically doing to most people that I know, making them feel really fearful, then that's a sign that you need to basically back up from that religion, and you need to basically do your own research and get an understanding of things. If that religion is telling you that God isn't with you when you're in certain places, like I was told, back up from that. That religion is telling you come here or you're gonna be dead, like the fear, if it's throwing fear at you in order to bring you back, that's not the way. And that causes for you just to do your own research on the things that are making you fear. Tap in, start to tap in more to yourself and understand what it is um that you may be fearing, if you are somebody that's fearing. I don't want to make this video long. I've kind of, it's already like 30 some minutes now, but I really wanted to get my story out there. Now that I'm in my spirituality, I definitely know I know thyself now. I know thyself. My chakras are healed. And when I say that, I don't try to come from an egotistical place, because you're always going to have to do work on your chakras. But I'm always doing work on them consciously. And it's to the point now to where, my root chakra, we don't deal with none of that fear stuff no more, man. We don't feel like we're unstable and unsecure no more. That stuff is out the door, and anything that's made me feel like that is out the door too. Or I didn't put it in this place to where I can use it as I need it. Religion, if I need a good message or something, yeah, I know religion can give you that. It can give you some really good messages. Now, the disciplinary actions, that's not for me. Now, if I choose to want to listen to a good message out of religion, I could do that too. Because spirituality is everything. Spirit is in everything. You don't limit yourself when you get into your spirituality. You actually allow yourself to be free and liberated. That's the difference. And I feel like a lot of people with this new age movement are trying to scare people back into religion. And like Conjure Queen said, that's just a way of delaying the great awakening, because there's a massive great awakening happening right now. And they know this, man. And so people are basically shifting out of this fear vibration right now, and they're trying to shift people back into it. But people, be mindful, really sit with yourself at times, question everything, forget everything that you thought you knew, and just go in with an open mind and clear mind and just see what you learn. Nothing can destroy you. Like, I think a lot of us feel like if I learn that, or if I read that, or if I look at that, it's gonna kill me. Because religion will be pushing stuff like that. I feel like there's nothing wrong with looking at something. There's nothing even wrong with watching something that you don't agree with. That's on this in your beliefs. You don't have to accept anything. You can look at something to understand it just for what it is. Oh, okay, that's why you think like that. Oh, okay, that's why you think like that. Oh, okay, that doesn't mean that you are turning into that now, or that that's you. Because spirituality may not be for you. Religion may be for you. I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just giving my story. But I just want to help and give like the way I went about it in my head, the way I really helped myself to really question certain things, because coming out of that fear vibration was tough. And when you're by yourself, it's even tougher at times, and but that's the way of spirituality, most times it's the narrow path. So it's gonna be um more lonely, and a little more challenging, but it's all worth it. I'll say that much. The freedom and the liberation and the power that comes from knowing thyself through your spirituality is limitless. Nothing can compare. Religion cannot compare in my book, because I feel like religion tells you what it wants to tell you and leaves out the major scheme of everything. And that major scheme is you. Who you are. They just want to use your energy. They know the essence. They know who you are too. So they want to just use that energy that you got. But tap into yourself real quick and then get into religion. Then you'll really get a different picture. I feel like for everybody, do your own research. And this is my last message, and I'm gonna end this. But do your own research, and everything that you come across, do your own research first about it. And then allow the celebrities and the news and religion to also give you the perspective. And like I said, you don't have to accept anything. You can now look at it through new eyes, in their eyes, and understand just where they're coming from, and still keep your ground and your foundation. But that way you have more awareness, a higher sense of awareness, to be able to discern more spiritually. Okay? So learn all you can. Be forever the student. And learn all this. Don't limit yourself to any knowledge, because knowledge is truly power. Knowledge could do what a pill can do. I'm speaking to my people. I'm speaking to everybody, but people with anxiety, man, really come talk to me. I can really help people. I feel like that have went through that, because man, it was a time where it was just so dark, and religion didn't help me when it came to that. Spirituality did. Peace.